Let's talk about estrogen today. Let's start with the term estrogen dominance. It sounds dramatic, but in reality, it's misleading. All of my adventures with cancer and my own troubles, as usual, led me to absolutely different understanding of estrogens in your body. And of course, because I combine functional medicine knowledge and everything that I learned from my own experience and also the spiritual look at it, I can give you absolutely new view of what's going on in your body. And I, for years, couldn't understand how can I have all of the signs of estrogen, not enough estrogen, low estrogen, but at the same time, I had all of the symptoms of excess estrogen, like estrogen dominance. And that was really misleading until I understood what's really going on. And we're going to talk about it. What we often do is like two different states. When estrogen is low, when it's truly low, then we need to boost the estrogen in your body. And we talk about it a little bit later, all of the natural, amazing ways and functional ways that are available for us, how we can do that. But the estrogen dominance, sometimes you would understand like too much estrogen is absolutely wrong term. And the problem here is not that it's too much estrogen, it's that estrogen that is not cleared from the body the right way. Let's explore both. So let's talk about estrogen as low. Well, there are classic symptoms like hot flashes and night sweats. Maybe if you don't even think about menopause, they are not as visible for you right now. But you can be premenopause sort of for ages. And also, that state can be absolutely reversed. There is dryness of skin, eyes, and vaginal tissues. There is also insomnia. That's a big factor when estrogen is low. Mood swings, anxiety, you literally becoming very irritable. And when you're becoming very irritable, often that comes with the guilt when you, for example, scream at your children, or you can't even stand your husband chewing loud. And that guilt brings anxiety, and that provokes the cortisol. You kind of like get stuck in a stress response in your body, and that affects the estrogen problem cycle. So you get into this shame and guilt and anger sort of a cycle in your body. There is bone loss or osteoporosis. There is also the thinning of a gum line. There are a lot of teeth problems and gum problems when it comes to not enough estrogen. There is hair thinning, big one. Maybe you don't even lose your hair in the big clumps, but you definitely see your hair thinning, and it's very noticeable. Loss of libido, of course, you just really forget about it. Thinning skin, wrinkles, and it's very important for us women. A lot of times we use so much on the outside. We try to apply and we try to shift and we try to like the nature of the skin, but the problems that comes from inside, for example, like the estrogen problems, it's going to be very hard to fix that. And also estrogen is always connected to copper, so we usually have issues with copper and issues with yeast. And of course, if you're lacking of copper, there is gonna be visible aging of the skin. So less obvious symptoms actually: sensitivity to sound and light, short-term memory slips, you forget names, dates, small details, muted sense of smell, that you definitely start seeing that your smell, a sense of smell is disappearing. Weaker awareness of body coordination, you become this clumsy, like women say, oh, I'm so clumsy. Cold hands and feet without clear reason. Sometimes you even check your thyroid, but you just always say, I'm just cold-blooded creature. These always cold hands and especially feet. Drier, flatter voice tone, thinning skin on lips and ears, loss of creative impulse. You know, when you just sit there and you like, I don't care anymore. I'm not excited anymore. I just want to, watch a movie and go to sleep. And you're thinking, well, in my 20s, it was just like, it's age related. I was all of these fireworks and sparkle, and I'm just not the same anymore because I'm ages. Well, not. And especially when women talk about it at their 30s and 40s, like I experienced that. This is way too early about thinking that age. Our bodies, they are designed to live a lot longer and to live in energetic body with a spark of life to it. And what's happening with our estrogen, that's definitely not the age related issue, and we're going to talk about it a little more. Deficiency often feels like a loss of voice. The body just quiets down and the spirit follows. You just lose it. You lose that spark. And it's like your natural right to express yourself, to take up the space, to create something, it has been dimmed. You don't feel that anymore. And when estrogen is present but not cleared, there are another big issue with estrogen, huge one. And I experienced both, like I told you, lack of estrogen and also all of these too much estrogen sort of symptoms. Why? I'm going to tell you a little bit later. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. My estrogen would choose 16. So imagine if the estrogen has to do its job, build us the cushioning nest for our baby, get us luscious skin, make us all sparkly and beautiful, and then it's supposed to be excreted out of the body. And through this cycle, when it goes from being delivered to do its beautiful job and being excreted, it goes through different phases, and it can go sort of different path. Where is a really good path, which is called 2-hydroxy pathway, when everything is happening normally and good. There is 16-hydroxy pathway, which is very, very inflammatory, and that's what happened to me. This pathway is when this estrogen accumulates, and with estrogen there are lots of yeast and there are a lot of toxins that need to be excreted with oxygen. So they sort of been mobilized in the body, but they're not getting out. And this happened because, in my opinion, the main and biggest reason is problems with the gallbladder and liver, because the bile that's supposed to excrete our toxins and our estrogen is not doing its job. We're losing that function of a bile to clear our small intestine, and here you go, the parasites, bacteria and yeast are growing. And also the bile, it's sort of just getting decomposed when it's stuck in your gallbladder. And that means all of these toxins that's supposed to be in the bile and be excreted, and estrogens, they're getting reabsorbed inside of your body. And they are more dangerous than they were before they were metabolized by the body. And that what can bring this feeling like you don't have enough estrogen, but you also have too much estrogen. And with that, all of the toxins, xenoestrogens, like, the microscopic plastic, all of the toxins, they're getting reabsorbed along with estrogen. Classic signs: breast tenderness and swelling, irregular or painful cycles, migraines, pronounce PMS when you have problems with PMS, when you have PMDD. Oh my goodness, some women suffer so much. Of course, there are ovarian and breast cysts, weight gain, especially hips and abdomen, sluggish liver or gallbladder, and also things like any tumors, polyps, anything that causes the abnormal tissue growth. That is one of the big reasons is that estrogen that can't be metabolized in the right pathway. And of course, what happened to me, also there was a genetic component to it, and it took me a while to and you know, when you go to conventional doctor like I did for my cancer in this cancer center Moffitt, their suggestion is chemotherapy, their suggestion is radiation, which were helpful because my cancer was like stage 4, it was everywhere at first. But then you cannot you know, now I'm pretty sure, I am positive that cancer is not something you destined to die from, you have to die from. Every case is different, of course, but like stage 4, and they told me I was close to be dead by Christmas last year. That is definitely, you know, you don't have to believe that diagnosis and this prediction for your health and just think that cancer is something you have to die from. Cancer can be, even if official medicine saying that things like lung cancer can be cured, I am pretty positive it is not going to be confirmed and not going true for, you know, for too long anymore. So, unusual signals. Morning puffiness under the eyes, that's a big one. Skin itching with no rash, heavy toxic dreams or nightmares. And of course, any toxic things that you see on your skin, any rashes, any like dryness, or it's kind of like metallic taste in the mouth, breast pain, even outside of the cycle, sudden cravings for sugar or bitter foods, dark under eye circles after fatty meals or just in general. Anxiety, when it's just like free floating anxiety, all of a sudden you feel anxious. Cysts showing up in unexpected tissues like skin, ovaries, salivary glands, your lymph nodes inflamed. And of course, the big sign also is that bloating, because again, there is copper, yeast, liver problems, and estrogen, they always go hand in hand. And that problem with the bile, that always shows up as that bile not clearing bacteria and parasites from your small intestine. And that's where we have this cortisol belly, always inflamed belly, always like some pains and gas and bloating. What disrupts hormonal balance? Chronic stress. Cortisol literally hijacks resources from sex hormones. Your body either think that it's time to reproduce and digest your food, and it's in a relaxed state, or if it's a chronic stress. And chronic stress is not necessarily like a lot of people talk right now about EMFs, about xenoestrogens, about plastic, about trapped emotions. But I also really want to emphasize the trapped emotions, because like I said at the beginning, we get stuck in this cycle of anger, then guilt and shame. And I think that is especially like for good people like I was when I was when I was dealing with my emotions, like good people, because we always suppress everything we don't like, suppress everything that you should share with people and tell them how it is, but you just hold it, you keep it in yourself, and then boom, it comes out like a big firework, and you just feel you can't, it's natural in your body to release it, because it's gonna come back to you, come back to you. The circumstances in your life gonna always provide these circumstances where you feel that anger to come back until you release that anger. And if you hold it, you start noticing like you're living in this path, in this cycle of things happening again and again and again, and people around you becoming villains, literally, just because you hold that grudge, you hold that anger, and then one day you just explode and you yell at them, and it doesn't come out gracefully, and then you stuck in the shame and guilt. And a lot of women also keep their shame from the past, a lot of shame, because we're all growing up hearing that we need to have sex certain way, we need to grow up certain way, we need to be a good girl certain way, we need to be good moms certain way. And it's a lot of that. Life is not giving us that ideal story how they told us we need to become. And of course we always feel shame about some of our actions in the past. So, and also, of course, toxins from plastics, pesticides, heavy metals. But I am so sure if you have good functioning body, if you have the normal functioning internal organs and your immune system, those toxins, they are not as toxic as a lot of practitioners make them nowadays. Parasites, molds, fungal overgrowth, also bile stagnation and sluggish liver detox. And I noticed that all of it start being processed a lot smoothly, and comes into place when you go through the process of awakening, spiritual awakening. Why this happened? Because during that process, spiritual awakening, which is not easy, which is pretty hard a lot of times, and if they told you online the spiritual awakening, it's about meditation and retreats and something pretty, and you're sitting there with a broken body, with the money that's like money flow completely stopped, and you're like, what the heck, why their spiritual awakening is so graceful and beautiful and mine is not? Is because, baby, their spiritual awakening a lot of time is absolutely faked, or maybe not faked. From the bottom of my heart I tell you, but it's what they want you to see it, just this side. You will not believe, but there are people come to me and that have that even show their side of being spiritual and being leaders for others. They're absolutely broken inside, and they don't show it, because spiritual awakening is always about very, very deep work. Your ego getting destroyed. The God enters your body, and he absolutely he washes away all of these like shame and guilt and anger, and it's absolutely beautiful process. And when I was going through it, I understand how much of a broken system the online crowd make it also the spiritual awakening. But when you go through this process, and then that God start going through your body, there is like electromagnetic waves that you live in, going through your body all the time. There is that electricity, and that, of course, because of these trapped emotions, with pain, with suffering, and tears, these trapped emotions leaving your body, and you becoming one with this world. You understand that you are not this body, but this body shows and reflects all of the kind of like all of these conditions and programs that you have about this world. If you think that men are assholes and they doing everything wrong, it's going to be represented as chronic stress in your body, because you don't trust male part inside of you. You don't trust God, you don't trust men around you. You have this wounded little girl syndrome that daddy is not good enough, for example, and it's going to be always represented as a chronic stress cycle inside of your body, which I'll make videos about how we go about that and podcasts. But it also like your body shows what you're hiding inside. Absolutely. And when you get to the spiritual awakening, all of this is like somebody takes your body and it's like, dirty sack of potatoes, start shaking it, and all kind of garbage start coming out of it. And it's a beautiful process. It's a beautiful process. So if you're stuck in the middle of it, come on, you can comment, you can talk to me, and you can talk about real spiritual awakening, about real you crying and going through hard fucking times. You know what I mean? And not just the meditation, and which happen a lot. I mean, I love my meditation, but I can tell you about certain meditations can be a lot better than others, but it's for another, that's for another audio. So, or video. So, supporting the body. So, very first thing that I can tell you, if you want to deal with estrogen, anything is like not enough, or this estrogen is not being clear in your body and gets stuck and causing you like endometriosis, PMS, cancer, whatever it is, we need to get your girl liver in a tip-top shape. Liver, gallbladder, because our gallbladder get, even I noticed that even if you did the ultrasound like I did for my cancer, they never showed me what was wrong with the liver. But when I started working specifically on this bile removal, on this bile flow, on the process of normalizing my digestion, bile, liver, and small intestine, you won't believe the results I achieved with my own energy estrogens in the body. So, of course, my biggest win, I'm still alive. The cancer shrinking, it's a 90% reduction. And we'll about the tumors and cancer, we talk about in separate videos. So, there is going to be some videos, then I'll show you how you can mechanically jump start the process of bile removing. You need to work maybe with a practitioner who can do a good belly massage, or osteopath that can detect, it's very important, guys, that can detect the scar tissue in the fascia in your belly, or some kind of stagnation, or the problems with your spine. It's all very connected. So these physical reasons for why your gallbladder has this sphincter kind of like trapped. And this is very important. When I even notice that this chronic stress, it goes through the generations. I noticed that my daughter would have a chronic stress a lot of times. And why did it happen? Because of all of that, I had a copper, because of the estrogen problems, I had a copper and stress. When I was pregnant with her, I had a copper dominance, but it's not copper toxicity. I did have not enough copper, but copper, because of a liver and gallbladder, it was not removed in my body the way it's supposed to go through the cycle and get removed. And the copper and iron and other minerals were stagnant in my body, and I gave it to my daughter. So she was growing up having a lot of like anxiety and fears because of that copper and estrogens. And of course, we had to work a lot on her liver, gallbladder, to get her out of this state. So our kids, when they're in our field, they always inherit these patterns. I was a stressed girl, and she was a stressed girl. So it's very important for us to get together and go through the mechanical stress, through the chemical stress, through the micro and macronutrient stress. Like I said, the copper, misplaced iron because of the copper, and it can affect the parasites because iron and parasites, they always go hand in hand. All of these connected, guys. And when you have this guilt and shame, when you live in your past, or you have anxiety about future, which when you go through awakening, you just live here and now. You really, but you understand that it's not your fault that you can't stay in here and now and enjoy this life. Your body is literally getting hijacked by parasites, by bacteria, and they have their own biofield, and you just ruled by your body's hormones and parasites. And it's very it's the work on hormones, bacteria or parasitic infections, and awakening and spiritual process, and working with your traumas and with everything. And actually working with your traumas is so easy, guys. When you leave thinking about your past, that means you're not in your own place right now. And I have amazing video about it where I talk about how if you get in your own place in life, you don't you don't live in the like telling other people what to do. They just don't bother you anymore. Oh, it's a beautiful process, and I talk about it in other videos. Let's get back to estrogens. So what can help after you take care of the minerals and after you take care of the liver and gallbladder, and we're going to talk about it later, or you can always download some of my PDFs and do it yourself. You can always talk to a practitioner or schedule a consultation with me. My approach is also always a science plus I'm sorry, spiritual medicine plus functional medicine. That's why I think only this combination worked in my own health, and now I'm a big believer in that. So and as a practitioner, in when my own struggle with cancer, I had all of the researches of Moffitt, the Cancer Institute, and my own findings into seeing how all of my theories about the spiritual and trauma and minerals and the toxic stress and spiritual stress can affect your body, because I saw the proof in my test results. So it's both spiritual and functional medicine. So plants and phytoestrogens can gently guide balance back after we take care of the liver and gallbladder, right, guys? So it's a it's a flavones, lignans from flax and sesame, schizandra, burdock root, donquai, and wild yam. There is a pretty cool Russian herb that's called borovaya matka or red brush. It's absolutely amazing into healing you back, and I it's available here in US, and I also use it in my protocols for women. And these don't just add hormones, they whisper reminders to the body, helping it remember rhythm. It's not, remember guys, when I talked about stress and chronic stress in the body, it's also about us forgetting our feminine roots. We forgot about rituals, and a person creates with the focus. You as human, you are a godlike, and you are the God in the human body, exploring his own creation. And when you create something, you create it with the focus. So because of that, not only I create functional protocols with the herbs and with the different very functional treatments, but I design things that can get us out of this stress mode, and back to our feminine roots. And I looked through everything in the spiritual dimension. Liver is the organ of decision making. If toxins or hormones aren't being cleared, it often mirrors indecision or refusal to release the past. And I was one freaking undecisive girl. I was always doubting my own, and it comes from the family because my mom was always like self-assured lady. She was always like, do it my way. So I was very indecisive girl. But all we need to do is to keep our focus, and we can change that. Bile reflects our ability to digest experiences and let them move on. When bile stagnates, so do old stories and roles. You get stuck that your life's supposed to be that way, and you don't see that your soul is saying, no, I can't live like this anymore. I'm tired. I hate it. And your soul is telling you, we are meant for bigger. We are meant to do something a lot bigger. We meant to be different. But you're stuck in the old, and you inside of you understand that it's just too much. Cysts and tumors are crystallized silence, unspoken words, emotions packed away, because that's what I would do. I would be not happy with a lot of things in my life that, I'm not going to talk about it here. I talk about it in my book or in my other videos. Long story short, I would keep all of these emotions, and then one day I would just explode. And like I said, I would then get stuck in this shame and guilt. Deficiencies feel like muting your like presence. You're losing resonance. You just living, you're waking up, and you're just not happy with life. You're just not happy with your morning. You're not happy with people that are around you. You just wake up kind of like losing the mojo, losing that fireworks inside of you. Stagnation embodies energy stuck inside, like emotions turned inward instead of outward, and you just talk and talk and talk inside of your head, and you just keep it all to yourself. You have nobody to talk to. Psychologists can be a good, if you notice that it might be you, somebody to talk to, maybe your practitioner. Like I said, I combine different aspects, but you need to talk to someone. You need to talk about your soul, and that's what I do when I go through the test results. I also go through all of the I also connect to your soul. I connect into, and I help you connect to your soul and start channeling your soul and discover, what does your soul want? Why the energy is stagnant? Why are you stuck? Why are you not happy? Where are you living like somebody dimmed your life and you like burned out? That's very important, because if we don't do that, if we don't take care of your soul, my dear, your minerals, your biochemistry in your body going to represent that. And no matter what you do functionally, no matter what you do with your supplements, if your body is stuck in the old trauma, stuck in the old emotions, they're not going to give you the results that you're hoping for. So estrogen issues aren't just hormonal math. They mirror a flaw or lack of the flow in your body. Deficiency shows up as silence, a fading of brightness. Stagnation shows up as weight, baggage that hasn't been released. And functional and spiritual medicine together remind us, herbs and nutrition helps, absolutely, yes. But the deeper medicine is in releasing stories, emotions, and identities that no longer serve you. Only then hormones become allies rather than threats. And I also designed, together with the Lemurian versions of myself, I designed 28-day moon ritual for estrogen balance. And you can, under this video, there is a link to get to that. If you want to download it, you get into my Telegram, and there is going to be the 28-day moon ritual. And what is very important in that is that in these 28 days, it's really easy. It's nothing too hard to do, but you remember when I tell the creator creates with focus, you focus on your body in these 28 days. Your focus is directed to your hormones, to your body, and that's when it produces the best results. So that's it for today. I hope this was helpful, and please share, give me a like. That would mean a lot to me. Also, comment under this video. That's an energy exchange, and when you do comment, that you not just consume, you sort of give the gratitude, and that way your energy is keep being balanced also. All right, love you all. Bye bye.